What if I told you that you can make a stunning 3D effect fast, simple, and cost-effective? Well, then stick around for the rest of this video as we show you the newest technique using StripFlock Pro by Siser. StripFlock Pro is a unique and versatile material with a raised, suede-like finish. Now, one of the great attributes of StripFlock Pro is it comes in a large variety of colors, which gives you a great complement to any design. Now, one of my favorite attributes of StripFlock Pro is that it's thick enough to go over hat seams. It also is great for items like denim and other soft garments that you want to add a really unique texture and finish to. In this video, we'll create custom patches by layering StripFlock Pro multiple times, giving your design an unparalleled level of dimension. I've got two methods to show you today, the stack method and the offset method. Well, and to help us out with some of these techniques, I've actually called on master crafter and graphic designer here at Siser NA, Kortez. Hey, Kortez.
Yeah.
Hey, can you help me out and show us how to create the 3D effect using StripFlock Pro?
Sure thing. The first technique is the stacked method and is a simple two-step process in Leonardo Design Studio. We need to start by selecting an athletic font called College Block 2.0 or any font of choice. The next step is to size your design, and what we are going to do is change the color of this top layer of our design to red. Once this is complete, we are going to find the Build Contours tool on the bottom toolbar. Now there are typically two options to choose from, Print and Cut Logo and Editable Contour. You want to select Editable Contour. Now the key to this incredible effect is to create a new layer and have an offset between layers, and to do this we will change the offset amount for this project to 0.125 of an inch, which will automatically show in the display window. Depending on your font type, you can also change whether corners are round or sharp. Once you have made the appropriate adjustments, select Apply. The very last step in creating the stacked method is to separate your two layers, then copy and paste your layers. Once you have your layers organized and ready to cut, click the Send Design option at the top of the screen. So to achieve a stacked method, quite simple. You want to take your object or your text, whatever you're looking to manipulate, and make your layers. Again, on the side, we're just going to create 4 layers. The very bottom layer will be your offset. Just want to name your layers. Okay, so for your first layer, you don't really need to do much of anything. If anything, you can take your object, copy it. We're going to be putting it on the 3rd layer because that's where we will be starting with the regular laying of material. Paste it in the layer, turn the visibility off because we will be working back with the first layer. This will become our offset. So we'll take this object, go up to object, go down to path, offset path. We want to make this positive offset of 0.125 of an inch. And when you select everything, you'll see both the offset and the regular layer. You just want to combine it all. You'll take the same layer, copy it, put it into the 2nd layer. Go back to the 3rd layer, you will select your letter or object, paste it into the 4th layer. Now all you need to do is change the colors of your inset or your regular layers that aren't offset to red. Now once you've locked your layers, or I mean you don't have to lock them if you want, but if you go ahead and toggle the eye, you can now see that for the first layer you've got your layer of black, 2nd layer stacked right on top, no offset, no inset, 3rd layer you've got your red, and then for your 4th layer it'll be the same thing, no offset, no inset off of the 3rd layer.
Sticking to the theme of this video, let's start by selecting that same athletic font that we used in a previous step. The next step is to size your design, and what we're going to do is change that color of the top layer of our design to red. Once this is complete, we are going to find the contour option at the top of the tool panel. Next, you will use the slide bar or type the offset amount that you would like. You can also decide if you want your corners to be round or sharp. The very last step in creating the stacked method is to separate your two layers, then using copy and paste to create a copy of the offset and the top layer. Once you have your layers organized and are ready to cut, simply click Make It to cut out your layers. Inside Silhouette Studio, using an athletic font, create the letter S and then change the color to red for reference. Move over to the side panel and we are going to look for the star with a contour line around it. This will be our contour tool. You can change whether to create an offset or an inset. And in this case, we want to use the offset as well as adjust whether your corners are round or square. We are going to increase the new offset to 0.125 inches. Lastly, simply copy and paste, creating 2 back layers and 2 front layers. Once you have your layers complete, move on to the cutting step. Thanks, Kortez. Now that we have our design done, it's time to cut, weed, and then apply. Now, a general rule of thumb is that if you have any garments that may be washed, it's best to use a maximum of 4 layers. To start, we need to prep our garment with a quick pre-press. Be sure to apply each layer for a couple of seconds to minimize shrinkage in between layers to prevent any misalignment when applying your design. It is also best to use medium pressure, as too much pressure can cause your design to flatten. A quick pro tip along the way is use heat tape to keep each layer of your design in place. Once you get to the final layer, you will press that layer for roughly 10 seconds. And just like that, you've created a 3D effect using StripFlock Pro. And then a quick tip, if you use parchment paper or a non-stick sheet, this can also be a way to create a faux patch that can then be used to either sew or pin on a garment later on. Now that we've shown you how to use StripFlock Pro to create a custom 3D design, what if I told you that there was another method that gave an even more three-dimensional look? Kortez? Hey, now that we showed them the stacked method for creating a three-dimensional design, do you think we could show them the offset method?
Sure thing. Much like the stacked method for creating the 3D effect, we will be creating a duplicate layer for each color in our design, and together this will add in a slightly smaller contour as we apply each layer, giving off a more rounded effect in the completed design. Once we have selected or imported our design, the first step is to separate the layers by color, and to do this, simply ungroup your design as each individual layer should be grouped together already. If not, each color layer will need to be grouped or welded together by same color only. Once we separate our design into individual color layers, the next step is to work one layer at a time, creating an offset like shown previously, starting with the largest or back layer. The key difference in this step is to select the include holes option as well as the bring to front option. Because the layers of this design will get increasingly smaller with each layer, bring to front allows the new layer to be placed on top once you select apply. Similar to how we created the offset using the stacked method, we will do the same for this design, with the caveat that instead of using a positive offset, we're going to create a negative offset to this layer, which will cause for the new layer to be slightly smaller than the previous layer. And I found that using an offset of negative 0.055 inch is perfect to accomplish this. Once you have completed your first offset, move on to each other layer in your design and repeat the previous step. Remember the rule of thumb: include holes and bring to front. With your new layers in black, simply arrange your artboard so that your color layer and new duplicated layers are next to the correct match. From here, you will select the new layer in black, then use the eyedropper tool to select the color from the current color layer. Repeat this step with each layer. Finally, boundary select the entire workboard and click Send Design to move on to the cutting phase. For the offset and inset method with this design, it's pretty simple. It's only a 4-color design, but we're going to be offsetting the magenta or fuchsia color and insetting the yellow, light pink, and turquoise colors. The first thing we want to do is make the very bottom layer, which will be the fuchsia color. So we'll take the fuchsia background, copy it, create a new layer, and this will be the very bottom layer, so you can either put bottom layer or first layer. I just like to put first layer, and I'll hit paste. Now you can either keep your entire artwork selected like shown or not. I like to use the visibility portion of the layers just to kind of give me an idea of if I'm still headed in the right direction or not. So with my first layer being the magenta on the very bottom, we're going to offset that, and by doing that, we're going to have our object selected, go up to Object, go down to Path, Offset Path, and a good amount would be about this 0.125, and I don't typically like to go any higher than that in my increments, and I don't like to go any lower than 0.055 of an inch. So with this path being offset to 0.125 of an inch, we're going to select OK. And now you're going to see both the regular layer and then the offset portion of it. We're just going to select everything, combine it all, or weld it all together. And now this will be your very bottom layer. So now you can lock it, make a new layer above it, bring back your old work, take the background, copy it again, paste it in the layer above the layer that you just worked with. So now this gives you your regular layer that hasn't been offset and your layer below it that is offset. And just to keep things from getting confused, we're going to color the bottom layer dark color. Make another layer. Let me fix this. So now you've got 3 layers, and now we're going to be working with our text. Unlock your layer here, your colors, or take your text, copy it all, paste it in that new layer you just created. And from here, we're going to take all of this, copy it all again, create another layer, and this will be your very top layer or your 4th layer. And we'll paste what you just copied into this layer. And this will be the layer that we will be insetting. So it's just the opposite of the offset. So you can lock your 3rd layer because that's the layer we don't need to mess with. We're going to be messing with just the 4th layer. So you'll take all of your text or all of your image, repeat what we did earlier. We'll go up to Object, Path, Offset Path. And to make this negative, we're just going to throw a minus sign in front of it all. Change your number to 0.55. And now you can see you've got a slight inset without it being too harsh. Copy that, select everything, delete everything, and now you are left with just the inset. So now if you want to lock your layers and now toggle the eye to see, just to make sure you're within your alignment here. And a quicker way to select everything, if you don't know already, is to select just one object in the color. Go up to Select, go down to Same Fill Color, and this will select everything on the artboard in that same color. Fill, make it slightly lighter. So you can lock your layer. Toggle the visibility for your other layers just to make sure everything is good to go. And there you have your offset and your inset.
Once we have selected or imported our design, the first step is to separate the layers by color. And to do this, simply ungroup your design as each individual color layer should be grouped together already. Well, as you can see in Cricut Design Space, each element of your design is separated out, so you'll need to select the same colors and either weld or group these together so we create 4 simple layers of this design. Now again, similar to how we created the offset using the stacked method, we're going to do the same for this as well in Design Space, except we're going to create an inset much like we did in our other software walkthrough. Once you have completed your first set, move on to each layer of your design and repeat the previous step. With your new layers on your artboard, arrange your artwork so that your brand new layer and your previous layer are stacked directly next to each other. Finally, boundary select your entire workboard and click Send Design to move on to the cutting phase. Much like the stack method for creating a 3D effect, we'll be creating a duplicate layer for each color in our design. And together, we will add a slightly smaller contour as we apply each layer, giving off a more rounded effect to the completed design overall. The first step is to separate the layers by color, and to do this, simply ungroup your design as each individual color layer should be grouped together already. If not, each color layer will need to be grouped or welded together by same color only. The next step is to work one layer at a time, creating an offset like shown previously, starting with the largest or back layer first. Like how we created an offset using the stacked method, we will do the same for this design, but this time we are going to create a negative offset to this layer, which will cause the new layer to be slightly smaller than the previous layer. Once you have completed your first set, move on to each layer in your design and repeat the previous step. You will need to use the eyedropper tool to select the color from the bottom layer of each part of your design and change the color to the matching slightly smaller layer like shown in the other softwares in this video. Finally, boundary select the entire artboard and click Send Design to move on to the cutting phase. So just like that, the world of decoration just got a little bit bigger with a technique that is sure to be a showstopper for any occasion. If you like this video, please subscribe to the Siser North America YouTube channel so you can always stay up to date on all things here at Siser. Until next time, we'll see you.